So with the units of activity method, and remember we're just allocating the cost of this $32,000 truck over the years it's going to provide us with useful service. We start off just the same as with the straight line method. We start off with the cost of the truck, we deduct the salvage value, and we get the depreciable base of $30,000. The difference here is that now we're going to divide by the useful life, but with units of activity, the useful life is measured in miles. And so if we assume, we would be also given that the estimated total miles would be 150,000. So we're really just dividing by the life measured in miles. And that's going to give us a depreciation rate of 0.2 or 20 cents per mile. So then as we drive this truck, we just keep track of the number of miles we drive each year. So if the first year you have driven 30,000 actual miles, for year one you'd go that rate times the 30,000 actual miles that you drove, and you would get your depreciation expense of 6,000 for year one. Okay, so this would be your depreciation expense. So you would make the same journal entry, 6,000, 6,000, and so now your truck would show up less year one, the accumulated depreciation would be 6,000, and you would have your book value of 26 at that moment. Okay, so then the next year you'd go out and you'd check the odometer on the truck, and you'd see that this year, in year two, maybe you drove 60,000 miles. So for year two, you would just go, okay, so times 60,000 miles, and you would get the depreciation expense by multiplying by the rate, and so for year two it's $12,000. So now if you're keeping track of your accumulated depreciation, it's 6,000 the first year, and now you've got year two, 12,000. And so your accumulated or piled up depreciation now would be the 18,000. And so you have your truck less the accumulated depreciation at the end of year two of 14,000. Looks like a 14,000. Okay, so that's the units of activity method. It's really a two-step process. The first thing you have to do is compute the rate per mile, and that you do starting out the same as straight line, except you're dividing by the total number of miles you think that this truck is going to run, and you get a rate. And then you multiply that rate times the actual miles that the truck was driven each year. Units of activity can be used on machines, loaders, so it can be measured in some kind of unit of output. It can be measured in miles. So the units will vary, but it is a units of some activity method.